Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the JRPG Report. My name is Dalton Suter, and this is episode 250. This is where the fireworks and the loud explosions and stuff go off. 250 episodes, man. That's nothing to scoff at. And seeing as that I have not been here for the entire 250, and also seeing as that it's kind of been a light news past 2 weeks, and I didn't want to leave you guys with 2 weeks without anything, I brought in the man, the myth, the legend who started this and brought us all together. So help me introduce and welcome the man, Mr. James Fisher. James, how you doing, my brother?
I am well, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing good, my brother, doing good. It's good to hear your voice, man, and I'm sure everybody else can agree with me. I get more messages than you would probably think asking me how you're doing and things like that. So it's good to have you on, man. And you can kind of fill in the people on what you've been doing, what you've been playing, that kind of thing. That's what I figured we'd do today.
Oh, yeah. And I'm honored to hear that. It's I freely admit that I kind of fell off a cliff after I handed you the keys and just kind of started living life again. But yeah, I guess it's kind of cool, the bridge of, I started the whole journey and now you are, taking the ring to Mount Doom and having the grand adventure. But yeah, I am so thankful that you asked me to come back. You said that. I was like, oh yeah, 250. Well, of course. That seems like a good time to come back and chat and catch up. I mean, things are nothing really out of the ordinary, just normal life, day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, work. I can relate to that.
Yeah. Life, family, work, you know how it goes. So,
yeah, man.
But yeah, thanks for having me back. We'll have fun kind of catching up, and whatever JRPG stuff we can go down all those roads.
Yes, absolutely, dude. And I will be interested to see the numbers for this episode because miraculously, the last time I had you on and we talked, it became for some reason the most popular episode of the show ever.
That's awesome. Hey, let's do at least one more than that, okay?
Yeah, let's do at least one more. That would be cool. But yeah, man, I was looking at the news and stuff, and really the only big news thing, which I figure we could talk about that, and then we'll talk about other things that we've been, playing and such.
Okay.
Because it is, a news show, first and foremost, is the Final Fantasy XVI is coming out in June. And they released the State of Play. Now, I know you said you haven't watched the State of Play when we talked about it off air, right?
That is correct. Nor shall I be watching the State of Play. That is by choice. But we can get into that in a second.
And I can understand that. So it showed off gameplay. It showed off like battles, things like that. I don't want to get too deep into it because I don't want to give away too much for you if you're avoiding it on purpose. But like, so this was the first footage I've seen of the game.
Oh, okay.
I've only seen screenshots. I haven't watched any trailers or anything like that. So I was like, James coming on. This is the only thing that's out there. I want to watch this and see what this is about. And I went from being interested in Final Fantasy XVI to now I'm like, my goodness, I would like to get a PS5 real bad. Because I'm like, do I want to wait until it comes out on PC after the amount of time where I'm going to have the entire game spoiled for me in one way or another?
That's going to be tough, yeah.
Yeah, between Twitter, Facebook, and memes. But so I'm like, man, but I can't help but think that I would need a new graphics card as well because I feel like this game might melt my little 2060 Super.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, I'd assume that you're going to need something new. Yeah.
So I have a 2060 Super, and the new series that just came out were the 40s.
Okay.
So like it's been like a whole generation. And what's sad is the whole 30 generation was basically the data mining generation, so no one could get a card for less than 1,500. Anyway, that's a whole bunch of nonsense. But yeah, I hope that like the 30 prices go down so I can upgrade to those, so then I can play this game and it revel in its glory. Or I guess I could just be a normal person and get a PS5 and then done.
That seems like the easier option. I don't know. Basically everything you just said is the exact reason why I just buy consoles. But
It's fair enough.
I don't know. Like I've talked many times. Like I work all day on my computer. The last thing I want to do is spend any more time than I have to, and go sit in my comfy chair in my living room and play my PlayStation on the big TV and all as well. But hey, to each their own. That is fine. But yeah, Final Fantasy. Like I have seen the previous trailers and screenshots, so that was what I was already sold on it. I knew they were showing 20 minutes of it. And there's no way you can't not spoil things in 20 minutes. But you said you went from casual to you're ready to drop $600 tomorrow type of deal.
Oh yeah, dude. If I had $600 right now, I would order a PlayStation 5 off Amazon or wherever I could find one. Yeah. It looks incredible, but man, part of me watching this trailer is like, this looks like an incredible game that's not Final Fantasy. If that makes any sense. Like,
no, it does.
It has strayed so far from the original concept of what the games were. Now, don't get me wrong, the storyline is still, as far as I can tell, as Final Fantasy as ever.
Yes.
And the look of it is Final Fantasy, but I can't get over the action gameplay. Like I loved 15. I haven't beaten it. Shocker. I know everyone's shocker.
You didn't beat a game. No way.
But 15 was great. And I did like the combat in that. But even in 15, I was like, man, I miss those days of being in the middle of a battle and just being able to sit there and think about, okay, what do I want to do next? Go through my menu, look at my stuff. And those days just seem long gone. And especially when they did the Final Fantasy VII remake and brought out and the action combat in that, I was like, oh man, they didn't even go turn-based for that?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like, how do you feel about it? Like, I know you're a turn-based guy, so.
Yeah, it hurts my soul. But that's the short answer. Now, luckily, there's still plenty of turn-based games out there, and they're very popular. But Final Fantasy, it's just don't even expect it anymore. They are way down the action path. And I was... I didn't like 15 a whole lot. So when 16 was the first announced, I was like, oh no, this is going to be even more so, right? And I think what kind of sold me on it was those, I don't know if you know that much about there's like the accessories that make it a little bit easier. That's what got me. I was like, okay, I'm not great at these games, but they have at least enabled a system to where I think I can play it and enjoy what looks to be an incredible story. Like, we know what we're going to get with a Final Fantasy story, and that's what you're signing up for. It's going to be a flashy combat in the meantime, and hopefully I can overcome all that. But it's a series that, as much as I didn't like 15, really, really didn't like 13, and haven't even enjoyed the joys of 14. I actually just got the paid for it the other day, so it's going to be here, and I'll see what all the hype is about. But people are just going crazy over it, and it's almost one of those things like I can't not, like it's so infectious that I want to be a part of it and make my own decision. But it is kind of sad to see where it's gone, but I mean, we got Pixel Remaster coming out, so we can, I guess we can see what it used to be like, but we're not going back to turn-based anytime soon.
I'm going to have you back on after, like, when it comes out and after about a month or two, and like, played it and give a first impressions on it, and like, and hear what you think about it, because I'm very curious. And like I said, because I know I'm going to get spoiled on it, so like, for the sake of the show, like, I don't mind. Like, we'll get on there, and we don't have to spoil story stuff, but I would like to hear about your impressions of it once you actually have some hands on with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you think? Well, actually, first and foremost, you brought up Final Fantasy XIV. When I started the State of Play and the guy came up talking about the game and it was Yoshi P, I was like, dude, that's so cool. I'm so proud of that guy. I don't even know him, but I'm so proud of him for like, they brought him in on Final Fantasy XIV. He saved that game, brought it to what it is today. And now they're like, hey, you did really good here. Here's the keys to the kingdom. Make this one good.
I think that was a part of it too that was so surprising that, even not playing 14, I at least knew what kind of system it was. And didn't expect it to go as action heavy. Of course, that's I don't know the fell's name, but he, is the Devil May Cry guy that's now the battle system. So it's going to be faster, but I think I was expecting something more akin to 14. Kind of like how 12 mixed those two worlds together. I was hopeful for something a little slower, but yeah, we're going to get something that's even faster than ever, it seems like.
Speaking of 12, not to give it away, because I don't know if it's been in any of the other trailers, like I said, there was a callback to 12 in this game that I am very excited for.
Really?
Yes. Not story-wise, but just a callback to 12. Like, it's just, I was like, whoa, yeah, I can't wait for that.
Interesting.
And while I'm thinking about it too, and this isn't a JRPG, no one, don't shun me, but like my standard now for accessibility for people who aren't really good at games and things is the game Control. Have you played that at all? Have you heard about it?
I did not. No. Is that, and then there's Judgment? Is that the next one? Or
no.
No, that's different.
Judgment was the spinoff of Yakuza, but Control it's by Remedy. So like Remedy did Max Payne, they did Alan Wake.
Oh, okay.
Like those games. So Control it's kind of like X-Files-ish style SCP Foundation kind of sci-fi horror. Anyway, the accessibility in that game was ridiculous. Like you could set, you had your colorblind settings, and all that type of thing. But then you also had like you could set it to where you take half damage or your enemies do less damage. You could set it to where you can take damage, but you don't die. So you can still heal yourself, but you won't actually die playing the game. You can turn it to where you don't take damage at all.
Okay.
And you can just run through and enjoy the story. So they like made it to where even if you're not good at video games, you could be good enough to get through and enjoy the story.
That's fantastic.
Which I just thought was really cool. Because say you're an like I don't know 75 and your motor skills aren't the same, but you're still a gamer. So you can run through and just let people whale you with bullets, and it doesn't matter because you can just pop them at your leisure and move through the story. And
I think that should be in a lot more games. At least something to that akin. Yeah.
Yeah. So I appreciate when Final Fantasy and people complain, oh, they just put the easy mode stuff in there. Get good. Come on. Don't be like that. Like they're not for you. They're not marketing it to you. It's not there for you. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah, no, that day has passed. Like we don't need to be like that anymore because everybody's so different. I mean, there's more than room for more than one type of game and difficulty levels, and I think that was what was so exciting with those accessories. Like, okay, this is really going to open it up to a lot more people to try to play it.
Yeah, absolutely. Not everything needs to be crushingly Dark Souls difficult.
No,
but man, I'm still just super impressed with the level of detail. And one thing that I noticed about the game, and you being a Dragon Age fan, you can probably appreciate this, is that they're not going with the open world aspect. It's like segmented, kind of like Dragon Age Inquisition was.
Yes.
And I don't know how you feel about that, but I think that lends to the ability to place more detail.
Yeah.
And this isn't taking away. I love open world games. Don't even ask how many hours I have into Skyrim. But the ability, especially for a game like Final Fantasy that but really showcases its graphics. Like, I really think that being able to segment it that way, they can really focus on making each place look as impeccably fantastic as possible is the way that they should have went. And that's what they did. So,
oh yeah, I have no problem whatsoever. Like, even the game is still open world. Like, it's just sections to it. I'm completely fine with not being able to go absolutely from one corner of it to the next. That's fine. I guess kind of, like 12 did, where there's sections but it's still completely open. You can explore it. You're going to die, but you can get there. No, I think that's the smart way of doing video games. There's no need to really make it any otherwise. But yeah, I'm excited about that aspect. It's going to be fun to explore every nook and cranny, and then go on to the next little section.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked. Like I said, it makes me want to buy a new console. But
yeah, you're gonna
have to wait.
It's going to be at least what I'd say to be just like remake, so a year before even thinking about coming to PC and Xbox.
Yeah, and I still need to play remake. because I said that I was going to wait until we played 7 for the show, and we played 7 for the show. So now I can dive into Remake whenever. I just haven't.
Yeah, you definitely need to.
These past few months, I've been in this fog of I open up a long game and be like, okay, I'm going to play this in the background while I'm doing other stuff. And then I play it for like an hour or two, and I'm like, man, I really enjoyed that. And then I close out of it, and I do not open it again.
I think I was definitely hoping it would be closer to Remake in terms of the battle system. Like, where that is still, an action RPG, you have time you can think about your decisions. Like, it's not just frantic. It's still strategy to it, which I'm not saying that 16 is not going to have strategy, but it seems like it's going to be so fast paced that you're just going to be kind of button mashing at times.
Yeah. I mean, if it's anything like Devil May Cry, it's going to be about like learning your combos.
Yeah, I hope not. If there's the word combo in there, then I get a triple S rating after a mission clear or something like that. I'm like, oh no. What has been in particularly funny is after a 20-minute state of play, people are saying ridiculous things like "Game of the Year." I was like, what? Do you even hear yourself talking? Nobody's played this game.
Yeah, it can come out.
It looks great, but can we not wait till it comes out first?
Yeah, like what if it comes out and it's a pile?
Yeah,
and not the gravel pile.
Yeah, it's you got people saying, is Tears of the Kingdom or Final Fantasy 16 going to be Game of the Year? It's like, well, how could we possibly know?
Well, I almost wonder if it's like people are hyping up those two games to the point that when they come out, everyone's going to feel obligated to make one of the two their Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it's going to be, okay, are you a Sony fanboy or a Nintendo fanboy?
Yeah, we'll get that fun discussion.
Yep. And then it'll devolve from there on Twitter.
And let's not even discount the idea of let's hype these things up so much that they actually disappoint us.
Yeah. Think about No Man's Sky when that first came out back in the day.
Well, 15. That was pretty well, and they shipped out a broken game, and I don't think they're going to do that this time, but not like they haven't done it.
Fair. That's right. I came into 15 after all of that, so it was like I didn't have that experience of getting it day one and just being broken.
Oh, I mean, 14 was, they had to completely redo it. So,
Lord.
That's, the other flip side of that, the opposite guy from Game of the Year guy is, oh, well, I'm disappointed. I'm not looking forward to 16 at all. I was like, well, I would probably be closer to that opinion based on the past two experiences.
Yeah, fair enough, dude. I know you said you don't like 13. What's funny is that I actually bought, is it Lightning Returns? Is that the third one?
Yeah.
I bought that the other day. It was on sale for like $6.99 or something like that. So now I have all 3 Final Fantasy 13 games.
There you go. Oh, I have them from the collection. Because, like you said, they're like $5 or $6.
Yeah,
it looks pretty on the shelf, but I haven't played the second or the third one. It's just, and I never will.
Yeah, I specifically remember my friend Brandy getting to a point in Final Fantasy 13 where she was like she couldn't go back and level up more, but the boss she was at, she wasn't strong enough to beat.
Oh, jeez.
So she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm just done because I'm not going to start this entire game over."
That's really disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, like, since then, dude, on most games that I play, I always try to keep 2 saves, and I keep one current and one a little older.
There you go.
Just to be safe.
But yeah, not being able to go back and level up, that's kind of like what RPGs are about. So if you're not leveled, you can go and fix that.
Yeah. Yeah, weird to lock you in a point where you can't. That's just strange.
It is.
I will say that, and before we move on from 15 or 16, I mean, I will say is it Clive or Clyde?
Clive, yeah.
Clive, yeah. Devil May Clive. The way he looks is the way that the character from Edge of Eternity should have looked. Like
that would have been nice. Yeah.
Proportion wise, like his arms look like arms that can swing a sword.
Instead of the skinny boys. Yeah. I mean, Cloud's iconic, but he doesn't look like he can pick up the Buster Sword, let alone swing it around.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And Squall too, but then again, he just had the gun blade, which wasn't so bad. But
yeah. Speaking of Clive, I am not at the very beginning, but obviously there's a time jump in there. Was it Clive is 31, 32, something like that? Towards the end of the game. So, representing us slightly older gamers. I like it.
Yeah, I was thinking about that before we came on the air. I was like, when he talked in the trailer, he was like, "Hey, good to see you," and I was like, "Whoa, he sounds like a man." Whereas, like all the Final Fantasies that I love, it's been like, "Hi, I'm Tidus," or like, or
yeah, I'm fresh out of high school. Yeah,
Noctis is being just like young prince guy. He's like, "Yeah, I'm edgy and cool."
Oh yeah, even what? Okay, yeah, You said you haven't beat 15. Okay, well, I won't say anything more. I'll stop right there.
No, I haven't beat 15 yet. No,
but yeah, Noctis quite young and immature. Yeah, they tend to go for the youngins, and I think Clive starts off kind of young when we first see him. But yeah, just get that guy who's been through quite a bit. Us because the average gamer, that's how old they are. They're not 16. So why make every game for 16-year-olds?
Yeah. I saw somebody make a comment the other day that they said, "I love the Persona series, but it really just feels like kids rule, adults drool, the video game."
Yep. Adults are in charge and they're stupid.
Which, by the way, I don't know if I had told you this yet or not. Over on the Steam Machine podcast, if anybody wants to check us out, Steam Machine podcast, wherever you get your podcast.
Non-shameless plug.
Yeah, non-shameless plug at all. I chose as the game of the year, like not like a game of the year, but like a game to play over the entire year, and then we'll talk about it at the end of the year. I told those boys, I was like, all right, we're doing Persona 5 Royal.
Okay.
So
very nice.
Nate's been playing it. He just got through Kamoshida's castle.
Okay.
I think he's getting into it a little more now. Slow burn start with him. He wasn't really feeling it at first.
Right.
And then my buddy Jeremy's been playing it, and hasn't played it for like a month, but he hit it hard there he was into like the third palace.
All right.
And then I don't think Willie started it yet, but like I'm just so happy for those guys to be playing it. And I almost felt bad because I was like, we've done Persona 4 for the show already. So I'm throwing them into Persona 5, and I really still want to play Persona 3. But going back to Persona 3, I know is going to be a huge jump in quality of life.
Yeah.
Luckily, both of them, like Willie's favorite game ever, I think, is Doom 2.
Okay. So he'll fit right in.
Nate's favorite games, like he's an NES collector and stuff. So like, I think that they won't mind the going back in time for it. Though I'm curious how you feel about the re-release of 3 being the visual novel style of it instead of the FES.
The portable version. Yeah, not a fan. I got that on Vita. They had that the PSP version, and I fired it up. I was like, oh, cool. Choosing male or female, fantastic. They're silent. Who cares, right? But then, like the point and click aspect of it, obviously the streamlined for the hardware. I get that. That's fine. But to make that the choice, while there were some enhancements, obviously being able to control your party, that's nice.
I think that might be the big reason that they chose that version to release.
I have to think that was the deal breaker. Like, okay, we can probably agree this isn't the better version. However, this one feature in particular is kind of make or break, especially in a modern game. Yeah. So it kind of bit the bullet. But yeah, game wise, it is not the best version. Looked good. They did a good job on it, but
yeah, I think I fired it up once while I was at Megan's house and was like played it for a little bit and was like, well, okay, I'll come back to this later. And then I just haven't loaded it up since. But I remember emulating it and thinking like, oh, okay, well, this is the newest version of the game, the PSP version. Surely this is gonna. So I'm playing it, and I thought it was very strange that everything was very just like not cutscene heavy, but like there was no exploration or anything.
No,
and then
it couldn't be.
That was when I learned. Oh, okay. So the definitive edition is still the PS2 version.
I feel so. At least for now, unless we're going to dive into rumors and
we can dive into some rumors
that leaked a week ago about Persona 3 remake.
About there's possibly a Persona 3 remake coming.
Yeah, well, there was the scene. So I mean, it looked I don't know. It looked pretty believable.
Well, fingers crossed for that. That'd be sweet. Although, how do you think it's going to go over? Okay, let me rephrase this. Do you think that they'll release that game over here with everything that's been happening recently? Not to get into politics, not any of that, but everything that's been happening in our world. I mean, with the way that you summon personas.
If you're going to remake, you can somehow get around that. I have to believe. Like, that was edgy at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't see how they can. Like, why go to all the effort if you're not going to just somehow take that out? I don't have a problem with it. I understand that it's a game, but.
Oh, yeah, same here. But there are people who would not take it that way.
I think it'd be even worse than that. I think it would be a lot of negative attention, boycotts, and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, but then on the opposite side too, if they do change it, there's going to be the people who are super mad. It's not exactly like how the original was.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're going to get both sides of it, no matter what, fanboys and like I said, politics aside. But yeah, so you haven't seen that trailer?
No, I have not.
It was, I guess, a Sega internal video, and it showed like a Jet Set Grind Radio scene for a second, and the third game escapes me, but it was basically like, we're remaking this, and the one is from a battle scene, and it looks so good. Way too good not to be real. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like not a recreation by somebody.
Yeah, definitely looked like it was actual. And that either that or somebody needs to get a job now because they made something that looks so good. Yeah, so we'll have to see if that happens. I'd be down. I've not gotten the remaster, but I'll just wait for this then if it's real or not.
I'll have to seek that out and look, because you say that they might be remaking Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio too.
Yeah, that was one of them, and there was a third title. It was, like I said, this was like an internal video document, and it's like, okay, we're redoing these 3 games, and that was one of them. One of the Jet Sets. Don't quote me on which one, but
those games were so fun back in the day.
I never had Dreamcast, so I didn't get to play those, but it looked pretty cool. Sonic, Sonic coming to Switch, whatever it was. Yeah.
Oh, is it the Sonic Frontiers?
Yeah.
I gotcha.
So it was those 3.
The Jet Grind Radio or Jet Set Radio that I played was actually on Xbox, but I think that's because that was like a sequel to the one that had been on Dreamcast.
Okay. I didn't have either one, so we're down.
Yeah, they were cool. They were cool. So another game that's coming out that I honestly I know nothing about the series, but I know that you're probably hyped for it, is Atelier Ryza 3, right? Or is that already out?
I've heard of that game. It's in my Switch right now, if that's...
Oh, why? How did I miss that game came out already? Last time I thought it came
out 3-ish week. No, this was late March. So, yeah, because I was still wrapping up Trails to Azure and had to wait until I got done with it before I could fire up Ryza, which I'm only like 6 hours into it, something like that. But yeah, I'll love it. Same quality as it's ever been. Getting the gang back together. It's a great game.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, it's been a long few months. Well then I'm very curious. Is it one of those like where you absolutely still recommend starting with the first game in the Ryza series, or can people jump in at 3?
If you want, there's no reason not to go back and play the first 2, especially now because I think even with Switch they re-released them. And you can even get a physical copy if you really want to. But all 3 titles are available on the consoles. So there's really nothing keeping you from playing. Gameplay-wise, yeah, you can jump right in. There's tutorials. You'll be fine. You won't care about the characters. You won't understand all the flashbacks. You won't understand why they even got to this point. It'd just be kind of pointless.
Yeah, that's what I kind of figured, because usually when it's games like these, at least when it's a series, you're going to want to start at the beginning so you can learn the party, learn the characters.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I guess Ease is a bad example because you can jump in any of those and learn the characters. But I've always appreciated when series take the same characters and push them through multiple games so you can kind of have that time to really get to know and love those characters.
Yeah.
It's one thing that, obviously Final Fantasy tried with 13 and 10 and 10-2. but like Final Fantasy never really did. Dragon Quest never really did that I can think of. You know, some of the bigger names never really did. And that's why I kind of appreciate these games like Ys and like the Atelier series, which is one that I absolutely want to get into at some point because I love crafting and stuff. And if that's the JRPG about making potions, I'm in.
It is. Alchemy is not just a part of those games. It's 50-50, honestly. Well, I guess if you want to break into thirds, you know, alchemy, exploration, and gathering ingredients, and the combat. So you spend just as much time making stuff. It's completely vital to the game, every bit of it. So yeah, it's a little bit. The only thing that's irksome is when you need like one ingredient and you got to go find it, you know, randomly somewhere, or you know, consult online. Like, where's this key item that I need one more of to make an item? But I could not recommend that series more highly. But yeah, you want to start with the beginning too because it's a lot slower. And by the time 2 and 3, like it picks up quite a bit, and they kind of expect you to know what you're doing.
I got you. I just added the first one to my wish list. I thought it was already on there.
Okay.
But, yeah,
and you can catch those on sale too. Just wait. They go on sale half off all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna have to wait till a sale though, because it's $60 for all 3 of the games. Like, or they're each $60. So I'm like, whoo, okay, yeah, they'll wait. Yeah, dude. So what have you been playing lately? Obviously, you said you've been playing some Trails to Azure.
Yes. So obviously, they finally released the Crossbell Arc. 13 years after or whatever it was. And it's so obviously we didn't get to play them in order, but I'm glad we finally got them. And now the whole 9-game arc is out there. You can piece it all together and figure out. I wish I could have played them before Cold Steel 3 and 4. It would have meant so much more, and I would have known the characters and really felt it more. However, it's been really nice to go back and play them because they did an outstanding job finally getting these things over here. No English dub, if that's a big thing, which is funny because playing these 2 games, then going to Rise, it's the same way. There's no English dub on them. So you're doing a lot more reading than normal. But
well, yeah, I don't mind reading, though.
I don't either. It's just in this day and age to have basically 3 games back to back to back with no voiceover. Well, no English voiceover. It's pretty unusual.
Speaking of that, I believe it was for Atelier Rise of 3. Hold on, let me scroll up a little bit here on the Twitter.
Oh, there was something about it.
They did a survey asking about, do you want English voice acting?
Yeah.
So if anyone wants English voice acting, go do that survey and tell them yes.
I have mixed feelings about it. I guess I've gotten so used to it. It's enduring for it not to be, even though I don't care. Like normally I want the dub no matter what, or to have voice acting in the first place.
Yeah.
But I don't know these characters and their voices have really grown on me now to this point where I couldn't imagine it in English, if that makes sense.
I feel the same way about the Yakuza series.
Okay.
I've gotten so used to hearing Kiryu and Majima and all those guys talking Japanese and reading their subtext. I've gotten used to their voice actors and stuff. So it's like, I feel like if they sounded all of a sudden they were different, it would be weird to me. That being said, though, Like a Dragon had English voice actors and Japanese, right?
I'm nearly 99% sure I had English. Yeah, and I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, and so I'm curious if these newer Yakuza games that are coming out, like Yakuza 8 or whatever, if they're going to have English acting as well. And then it'll just be interesting for me to hear Kiryu, because I mean, I'm sure I could go back and play the original Yakuza that came out on PS2 and hear the English voice acting that they had on there, and they had Mark Hamill do Goro Majima. And to show you how impactful that was in his life, people have asked him about being Majima, and he was like, I was in that game?
That's funny. Okay.
Oh, all right.
But yeah, I don't even remember, but apparently some of the earlier Atelier games had some English voice. So that completely escaped my memory that they'd even done that. And I guess that's one reason why they're asking if they wanted to bring back or not. But
I wonder if it was maybe the English audience wasn't, like, they were buying the games, but they weren't buying them enough to justify paying to put in the English voice acting. So they were just like,
but I mean, Rise has been their best selling series by far. So the numbers don't back that up, but a vocal enough. Yeah, like I said, people on Twitter complaining maybe is loud enough to where they're at least willing to, or they're profitable enough to think about doing that. Now that's going to push it back too. So be careful what you ask for. Because we know how long these games take to get translated and then, acted out. So there's going to be a delay.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So what, like anything else you've been playing that have jumped out? Any like little side games? Any little things that surprises maybe?
Not particularly. I've been kind of dedicated to these, super long games. Although in terms of trails, like the crossbow games are pretty short. I want to say like 70 hours, whereas Cold Steel was easily over 100. And then Rides is going to be on the shorter side, I would have to imagine. Now, if you want to do 100%, it might take a little bit longer, but...
Yeah, I remember the Sky game wasn't super long, other than like I grinded a bit until I would grind until it was like you couldn't grind anymore. Yeah. And I will say Willie and Nate have both clearly stated on air that we will be playing second chapter at some point this year because they're both wanting to get into that and see what's... Like, I feel like for Sky FC really got their claws into both of them.
Oh, so they played first but not second?
Yeah, so we played through the first chapter for the show.
Okay.
Last year, and then I wanted to immediately dive into second chapter.
Yes.
But I gave them a break.
No break. How could you do that to yourself? Like, the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers, you got to go right into it.
It's been killing me, but at some point, probably during the summer, when work's kind of calmed down for people, then we'll dive into that some.
There you go.
At least that's what I'm hoping.
You asked about other stuff. The only one I've been playing that I haven't played it in probably 2 weeks is I did get Hogwarts for PlayStation 5, and it took over for a while, but I've been bad. I need to get back into it, but that game, good grief.
You know what's funny is that I got really into that game too, and then just fell off of it as well, and just stopped. It's incredible for what it is. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of fun with it. I don't know why I fell off of it. It's really good.
I think we just got busy and I didn't have time for, I don't like to juggle games anyway. Obviously that one's a little more low key, but I guess I was surprised with how expensive it is. Like I'm 40%, something like that. And of course there's that huge world to explore. Now maybe I wasn't expecting it to be quite like that, which is a pleasant surprise, but it's a huge game.
Dude, when I first left the castle and just went out into the world and and got my broom and was flying around, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is way bigger than I thought it was.
Way, way bigger. And I'm not even gotten close to exploring everything.
And I really appreciate that they really just took the world concept and created their own story within it, because there's really no reference to any of the modern stuff that would happen in the books. Like there might be like little Easter eggs, like, the professor named Weasley or whatever.
Yeah, that's about it.
But other than that, dude, it's back in the late 1800s. So, I mean, there's no one from it. And
no, not a clue of anybody.
And I don't know. I'm very impressed that they did that, because, you hear that there's going to be a game coming out based on movies or stuff. It's like, okay, we're going to get another one of these. But this is like legit an RPG that's just in the world of the Harry Potter universe, and good on them.
It's a better RPG than a lot of RPGs out there. I don't even think they were even trying. They just like, this is just the game that we're going to make, and it's going to be phenomenal. Like what I'm even more impressed with, I was watching my streamer friend. She was playing it, and she was on PC, and I guess her PC is probably not quite up to. But there's loading screens in between things. I'm like, what is that? Like PS5 has no loading screens. For that game and what they're doing, no loading at all. It's just, it blows my mind. It really does.
Impressive.
Yeah. I was very happy. I didn't even know it was a thing.
And I got like, let me look real quick just to see how many hours I have into it so I can gauge. So I've got 46.9 hours into it.
Okay.
Right. And granted, probably a good 10 of that is me just leaving it paused while I go do other things.
Yeah.
But man, I couldn't believe that. Like I'm say 20 hours into the game, and they're just hitting me with like, oh, by the way, here's a new mechanic.
Yes, new spells, new things, new games.
Here's something new. Yeah, it's like, man, that's just
and so many side quests. I mean, I'm notoriously bad about side quests anyway, but to the point where you don't even want to do the main quest until you have to. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I get to the point, I do this in a lot of these like open world-esque style RPGs where I grab all the side quests and then I run around and I do all the side quests and then I'll continue the main story.
Absolutely. It's very Xenoblade Chronicles like.
Yeah. I feel like it was like The Witcher 3 where like I progressed to the story quest one time and failed like 4 side missions and was like, oh, never again.
Yeah, but I love how they've got the levels on there. Like, if you should be doing that one or not.
Yeah, that's very, very helpful. And then you run up on somebody you shouldn't be messing with.
And while definitely not a JRPG, I think it's a game that everybody should just, if you're on the fence about it, obviously there was the whole hubbub about beforehand, but.
Yeah, there was the controversy, but like I said, they really were able to take this and just make it their own within that world. Mm-hmm. And it is, if you are a fan of RPGs, it is worth your time. Yeah,
and they were obviously just huge fans, and they made a love letter to the series.
Yeah, it's like my buddy Jeremy. He's like, yeah, I probably won't play that, but it's just because like I like sci-fi, not fantasy. Okay, and I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. So he's like, so I probably won't play it. He goes, but it looks awesome. And I was like, well, at least you can admit that it looks good.
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, and that's the other thing too, is like, if it's not your thing, that's fine.
No problem.
Like, not everything's for everybody.
No, obviously we play a genre of games that is definitely not for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And speaking of Jeremy, he's normally not a JRPG person. So that's why I'm surprised that he liked Persona 5 as much as he did.
It's all the social, it's the high school dating parts, isn't it?
He likes the party interactions and stuff, yeah. And Nate is like, man, I wish Ryuji was my best friend.
Okay.
He loves that guy.
He's an idiot, but he's a lovable idiot.
Ryuji is the quintessential lovable idiot. Oh, man. Well, I've kept you for quite a while, man. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on before we roll out of here?
The only thing that was just popping in my mind is, we've already talked about the few things that I'm playing. We've got Final Fantasy. We've got finally a new Trails game with Trails in the Reverie coming out this summer. Going to be ginormous. Who knows when Kuro's coming? That's a while. We've the DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at the end of the year. I'm going to forget all the rest of them are coming out, but one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most is Sea of Stars.
Oh yeah,
that retro game looks phenomenal.
Yeah, dude, I forgot about that one. It looks really good. I like the art style that they chose, and that's the one that's kind of like they were saying it's like Chrono Trigger-esque.
Well, yeah, it is inspired by. It's got music by the same composer. Those guys, and I've heard that a lot. Like, this is inspired by Chrono Trigger. Like,
oh yeah, like Cosmic Star Heroine.
Yeah. There's been a few here and there, but like, and this isn't it either. But it's the closest thing I've seen, and the demo is out there. I played it for 5 minutes. It's like, sold. This is it. Finally, like they've done as good as they can, and it played so smooth. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I'm more excited about that game than I ever thought I would be.
Well, good, dude. I'm very glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm gonna have to seek out this demo, see if it's on PC somewhere.
I know it's Switch. Yeah. I don't know if it did, which was weird. I don't know why it didn't do anything else, but
okay. Well then, yeah, I have my Switch over here on my bed, so I'll check that out. And we forgot the biggest news that came out. My goodness. Did you see that Dragon Quest XII changed its logo slightly?
Oh man, any Dragon Quest news I usually soak up with a sponge, and then I was like, oh, they changed it ever so slightly that I wouldn't even know they changed it. Great.
Yeah, I laughed so hard when I was like, surely this is April Fool's, and it wasn't. It was just like, no, there are like 4 or 5 different news sites reporting that Dragon Quest slightly changed their logo.
I mean, it's such a giant Japanese franchise, so even that is like big news.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, they do they're not allowed to release those games on work days anymore or something like that.
That's not the Dragon Quest news that I even wanted. Where is 3 remake?
Oh, yeah.
What has happened? It's gone.
When you brought up Sea of Stars, that's what came to my brain, and then it went right out of it. Yeah, dude. They mentioned that, and then it hasn't said a word.
I am very concerned.
I wonder if they're doing it, or did they quietly scrap it?
There's no way they could scrap it. Too many people were crazy excited for it, but at least be like, okay, this might have been more than we were thinking, and it's definitely not coming out this year, type of deal.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's okay. If they need to take more time on it, that's fine. But just tell us.
That's all. That's all it takes.
Just let us know.
I was sad that you can't play every game that's come out, and I've adopted if a new game comes out, I'm not going to play it day one. I don't pick it up, and I had to do that with Octopath Traveler 2. I loved the first one, but I just played it right before Trails came out. That game was so phenomenal. Oh my god!
The first Octopath?
Yes, and 2 takes everything to the next level, but still keeps everything. And it's been really kind of hurting. I think I need to get this, but I don't necessarily want. Now that it's out, I'm like, well, maybe it'll go on sale.
Yeah. Now you wait for the elusive sale.
Yeah, that may never happen.
Well, that's when we were gonna play Nier Automata for the show. We played through that, which phenomenal game.
Mm-hmm.
Nate's waited all year. He'd been waiting a year because I had been saying I wanted to play Nier for a while.
Uh-huh.
And he's waiting for it to go on sale, waiting for it to go on sale, waiting for it to go on sale. It never went on sale for a whole year. Nate bought it. We did the episode on it, and a week and a half later, it went on sale.
Jeez. At least it wasn't that much.
It was later that week because it was the day after our episode released, and it went from being $39.99 to $19.99 or something like that. And Nate was like, "Man," and I said, "Dude, I just think they listened to our show."
That's exactly what it was.
There have been so many coincidences of things that we talk about on Steam Machine that then come to fruition. It's uncanny. So that's why we're always making jokes. When I used to harp on about, please bring Persona 5 to PC so I can make these guys play it. And then they did.
And they finally did. It only took 5 years.
Things exactly. It took long enough, but yeah, dude. And then the other thing about Dragon Quest that I'm thinking about is that I can't remember his name, but one of the main Dragon Quest guys left Square Enix.
Yeah, I think there's been a couple now that were on the 12 worrying. Project even, and now the one that left that I knew was the guy who did the action ones. What were those called?
The Dragon Quest Warriors?
Yeah, whatever it was. And so that's fine. That guy can go anywhere he wants to. I don't care. But yeah, you can only lose so many core people before you're worried that the series is going to change.
Yeah. I'm just hoping these guys aren't oh, well, you're making this another action game. I'm out of here.
Please don't.
Because Nate from Steam Machine is he's like you, loves Dragon Quest. And he is so worried.
You can't help but worry a little bit. Although, 11, there was nothing to suggest that they were changing it. So, but that was a while ago.
11 was so good.
Yeah. And the sales were so good. They have no reason to think we need to change this formula.
I sure hope not, man. I sure hope not.
I guess we'll see one of these days. If ever. It's going to be a while.
Yeah. I say probably 2025.
I'd say that's pretty good. I can't imagine if they came out and showed anything action-wise that the Japanese public wouldn't react very negatively like that.
Have a meltdown.
Yeah. And that's not what they want to do.
Can you, with the big, as big of a deal as Dragon Quest is in Japan, can you imagine the whole countrywide walkouts of work and protests and things there's millions of people in the streets protesting outside of Square Enix headquarters. I can see it.
It would absolutely happen. That fan base does not want that to happen, and that they won't let it. I don't think.
Well, good. There needs to be a big AAA heavy, one of the big dogs that needs to stay turn based.
Yeah, I mean, I think Persona's pretty safe. They found the formula with 5 that's perfection. So
yeah.
If we can keep Dragon Quest as well, Trails is still technically turn-based, even with Kuro's hybrid system. But, as long as we got those guys, Yakuza went backwards. They
yeah, fair enough. I loved that started as an April Fool's joke, and everyone loved it so much they were like, all right.
Yeah. And the next game's going to be 2. So that's incredible.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad to see it. I hope there's more of it. There's enough action games out there.
And the balance between going back and forth is honestly pretty perfect. Because I don't want all turn based. I like changing it up. It's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like as weird as it is to see the Final Fantasy games the way they are now, if we only had the 2 choices of playing Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, at least they would both satisfy both of those lanes.
Absolutely.
It's all about synergy. Well, dude, thank you very, very much for joining me.
Absolutely.
My good sir.
Thanks for having me. And I'll come back in June and tell you how it is. Or late.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, late June. Something like that.
We'll hash it out in post. We'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
But yeah, dude, I'm appreciative of you coming on and for the 250th episode, man, because honestly, I wouldn't have gotten to 250 without you. So I had to have you here, man.
We wouldn't have got to number 2 officially, but yeah, we'll take 250.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
I couldn't be happier with the direction you've taken and carried the torch. And I really appreciate everything that you've done to keep this thing going, and hope that the people feel the same.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate that, man. It means a lot coming from you, my brother. So let me run through this house cleaning real quick, and then we'll get out of here.
All right.
If you want to check us out on Facebook, you can go to facebook.com/JRPG Report. You want to check us out over on Twitter, it's @JRPG Report. If you'd like to join the Patreons, patreon.com/JRPG Report. And you can get your name called out on each and every episode like these wonderful people, Jake W., Jordan K., Kularian, and MasterLoot. Thank you very, very much for your support. And if you would like to check me out on my other podcast, it is the Steam Machine Podcast, a bi-weekly PC gaming show where we play through our backlog and then talk to you about the games. Our next game coming up is Ori and the Blind Forest, chosen by one Destructo Bro Nate. And thank you all very much for listening to the last 250 episodes. Here's to another 250. And for old times, James, you want to send them out?
I can do that. Sure. Everybody, get back out there and level up.
And stop.